There is a specific type of failure that waits for companies at the very height of their success. It is an invisible snare, and right now it is being set for some of the brands you use every day. This trap has already claimed massive corporate empires, from global giants like Kodak and Blockbuster to familiar legacy brands right here in India. When these companies collapse, we usually assume the leaders were the problem. We tell ourselves they were too arrogant to change, too bureaucratic to move, or simply too out of touch to see the future coming. In 1997, Harvard Business School professor Clayton Christensen published the results of a multi-year study into these corporate deaths. He reached a conclusion that challenged the most basic assumptions of management theory. Christensen found that these companies failed as a direct result of their own excellence. They followed every rule of good business. They listened to their best customers. They invested heavily in new technology, and they meticulously studied market trends. Because these companies were so well managed, they were unable to see that the rules of the game had changed. This is the innovator's dilemma. To understand how this trap works, we have to look at its first mechanism, sustaining innovation. This is the process of taking a product that is already successful and making it slightly better for your most demanding customers. This chart tracks that progress. The steep upward curve represents the established leader. Year after year, they increase performance and price. Industry leaders almost always win this race, optimizing to serve high-paying clients at the top of this curve, where profit margins are highest. This pursuit of high-margin profit acts as the bait. It keeps the giant looking upward, focused on their most valuable customers, while they lose sight of the market shifting beneath them. While the giant looks up, a startup enters at the bottom with a disruptive innovation. This new product is cheaper and simpler, but it actually performs worse. Think of the first personal computers compared to corporate mainframes. At this point, the giant could easily afford to buy or crush this tiny competitor. So why don't they? The answer lies in the resource allocation process. This is the internal system of filters that determines where a company's money and talent are allowed to go. From the perspective of a rational manager, the math is clear. Your best customers want expensive features. The startup's customers want cheap products with almost no profit margin. Investing millions into that lower market feels like a waste of resources. This sound financial logic creates a permanent blind spot. The giant ignores the startup because its internal systems are designed to prioritize high-margin growth. In this environment, the very habits that make the company successful also make it vulnerable. While the giant is distracted by its premium customers, the disruptive technology is quietly improving in the background. Eventually, we reach the moment of intersection. The inferior product improves until it is finally good enough for the mainstream market. Suddenly, everyday customers realize they don't need the giant's expensive, over-engineered product anymore. When the giant finally realizes the danger, they find themselves paralyzed. Because they have spent years optimizing for premium products, they lack the agility and the cost structure to fight a price war at the bottom of the market. The trap is now fully closed. The giant is forced to retreat further upmarket to survive, until they eventually run out of room and disappear. Christensen's academic lesson is that the principles of good management are actually only situationally appropriate. What works in a stable market will lead to disaster during a disruption. To beat the innovator's dilemma, a company must create an entirely separate, independent organization. This new team must be free to develop disruptive technology without being forced to meet the high profit margins of the parent company. For the entrepreneurs and MBAs watching this, look at the industries around you in India right now. Can you identify the giants that are currently chasing high-margin bait? And more importantly, can you spot the scrappy startup that is building a simpler, cheaper alternative right beneath them?